I just had to let you know you're.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. Today we will be presenting a role play and panel discussion on workplace miscommunication based on the Shannon model of communication. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce our team members. My name is Karenisa. I am the moderator. We have Sophia will be acting as the manager, Maiha as the marketing staff, and Zara as the design staff. So through this role play, we will demonstrate how miscommunication can occur in the workplace and analyze the situation using the Shannon-Weaver model of communication. So without further ado, shall we start our role play now?
Good morning, everyone. You guys know that we will be launching our new product next week, right? So I need all the promotional materials prepared by Friday, as soon as possible. Please make sure everything is complete before Friday, okay?
Alright, noted.
Sure, I get started.
Great. I have another meeting to attend, so I leave the details to both of you. Just make sure everything is ready, okay?
Alright, from this scene, we can see that the manager gave instruction regarding the product launch. However, the message was quite general and lack of specific details about the responsibilities and expectations. So, the employees may interpret the message differently based on their own understanding. So, let us now see how each employee understands the manager's instruction. I think the manager wants me to focus on the marketing content. So, I will prepare the social media captions, post some Instagram pictures, and then maybe suggesting some promotional hashtags to use in the future.
Oh, really? I thought we needed a complete campaign package. So I will design posters, banners, and also promotional visuals.
Well, the manager did not really specifically mention about the campaign package.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm sure that the designs are the priority.
Okay, so let's just work on our own task first.
Yeah, sounds good.
Alright, in this scene, both employees interpreted the manager's message differently and made assumptions about their responsibility. Neither of them sought clarification from the managers or discussed with each other about their tasks. Although they believed that they really understood the instruction, this difference in interpretation may lead to problems later. Let's see what happens when the deadline approaches.
Good morning. Is the launch package ready?
Yes, I've completed all the social media captions and post all the promotional online content.
Great. So where are the posters, banners, email templates, and product brochure?
I thought Zara was handling those.
No, I only prepared the posters and banners.
What about the brochure and email marketing materials?
Well, I assume mine was responsible for those.
No, I thought my task was only doing the social media content.
Wait, did neither of you coordinate with each other?
I guess no.
Yeah, we kind of like worked separately because we thought our responsibilities were already clear.
The product launch is in 3 days and also important materials are still incomplete. The delay could affect the entire campaign, you know.
As we have seen, the lack of clear communication resulted in confusion and incomplete work. Both employees assumed that certain tasks were being handled by the other person, causing important material to be left unfinished. So this situation demonstrates how miscommunication can negatively affect workplace performance and project outcomes. So let us now analyze this situation using the Shannon-Weaver model of communication theory. So, the miscommunication has now caused a confusion and project delays. So, I would ask each of you a few questions. So, I will start with Sophia. So, Sophia, who was the sender in this communication process?
I was the sender because I delivered the instruction to my staff.
And what was the message about?
The message was to prepare the promotional materials for the product launch.
Alright. To Maiha and Zara, who were the receivers?
We were the receivers because we received and interpreted the manager's message.
Yes, however, we interpreted the message differently.
So, what was the channel was used during the discussion?
The message was communicated verbally during a team meeting.
So, the most importantly, I want to ask what was the noise or the barriers during the work or the discussion, during the discussion?
So the noise was semantic noise, which is the instructions were quite vague and lacked specific details about the responsibilities.
Alright.
Because of that, we made assumptions instead of seeking clarifications from the manager itself.
Alright. Last but not least, what was the effect?
The effect was confusion, incomplete work, and delays in the project timeline.
Alright, thank you everyone. So through this roleplay, we can clearly see how communication noise or barriers can interfere with the communication process and lead to misunderstanding in the workplace. So I think the scenario also showed the importance of delivering clear message and seeking clarification whenever the instructions are unclear. So to further understand this issue, I think we will now move on to our panel discussion. So, first, I would like to invite Sophia to explain how workplace miscommunication occurs and why it remains a common challenge in organization.
Today, I'm going to talk about something that affects every single one of us, whether we are a manager, a team member, or a new employee. We are talking about miscommunication in the workplace, what it is, why it happens, and what we can do about it. So, what exactly is miscommunication? Simply put, miscommunication happens when the message sent by one person is being misperceived by the person receiving it. It is the gap, the space between what someone is trying to say and what the other person is actually understand. And here's the thing, workplace communication is not just about talking, it's about making sure the message travels safely and clearly from one person to another, and that it lands the way it was intended. Imagine you are sending a message across a room, but in between you and the receiver, there's noise, distraction, assumption, emotion, and language barriers. When that noise interrupts the message, miscommunication occurs. And the consequences, they are very real. Frustration um, will happen, and confusion and conflict will happen between the sender and the receiver. Miscommunication doesn't always look the same. It can take many forms. So let's take a look at the three of the most common ones. First, misunderstood body language. A manager crosses their arms during a meeting. Are they cold or are they feeling defensive? Nonverbal cues are often read differently depending on the person, and this can lead to a serious misunderstanding. Cultural differences. In some cultures, saying yes means I hear you, not I agree. When colleagues from different backgrounds work together without awareness of these differences, miscommunication is almost inevitable. Lastly, unclear message through technology. A short email like fine, do it your way. Is that approval or frustration? Digital communication strips away tone, and body language, making it easy for messages to be taken the wrong way. Now, you might wonder, why spend time understanding this? Because miscommunication doesn't just cause awkward moments. It leads to missed deadlines, damage relationship, reduce productivity, and a toxic work environment if left unaddressed. To truly solve a problem, we first need to understand it. And that means exploring how and why it happens using a real life example that we all can relate to. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. That's such an interesting explanation. From your explanation, we can understand that miscommunication often occurs when messages are unclear or not properly understood by the employee. So next, I would like to invite Maiha to explain how the Shannon-Weaver models relates to workplace miscommunication.
Thank you, Kai. The Shannon and Weaver model is one of the most important theories that is used to understand workplace communication. Although the model was first originally developed in 1948 for an engineering purposes, many organizations still use it till today because it helps to explain how messages are sent and received. One of the model's main contribution is introducing the concept of barriers, or it is popularly known as noise. Noise refers to anything that interferes message and causes miscommunication. In the workplace, this can actually happen in many different ways. For example, like how we explain in the role play, there is physical noise and semantic noise. To start with, I will briefly explain what is physical noise. Physical noise is include things like background sounds in an office or technical problems during online meetings. To illustrate, imagine during this panel discussion, we actually conduct this meeting using a faulty video conferencing software. And as a result, we might miss some important information because the message is not transmitted properly. The second type of noise that I will briefly explain is semantic noise. Semantic noise happens when people interpret words differently. For instance, if a manager actually asks employees to complete a task ASAP, one employee might think, oh, I need to finish this within a few hours, while another people might think it means within a few days. As a result, confusion and delays may occur. Besides identifying communication barriers, the model also helps us understand how strong workplace relationship can be maintained. When managers communicate clearly and employees understand the message correctly, misunderstandings can be reduced. This actually helps to create transparency and helps to build trust between employees and the management. However, what is a communication model without any limitation, right? And Shannon and Weaver model did not laugh. One major weakness that I discovered during the report is that Shannon and Weaver model actually views communication as a one-way process, and it gives a very little attention to feedback. Yet, in reality, workplace communication requires two-way interaction because employees often need opportunities to ask questions, to clarify any issue, to share their problems, and to even share some project uh, to share the feedback of the project. In addition, the model does not consider emotions. Shannon and Weaver, they did not consider emotion. Even if a message is technically accurate, communication can still fail if it lacks empathy or emotional sensitivity. This limitation becomes clearer when we compare it with one communication model, which is Berlow's SMCR model. Unlike Shannon and Weaver, Berlow focuses more on human factors such as how communication skill actually affects human attitudes and knowledge. For example, Shannon and Weaver can explain why a message was not delivered due to a technical issue, while Berlow can explain why the same message was misunderstood because of differences in communication skills. Overall, I would say that the Shannon and Weber model remains as one of the most useful communication theories for the workplace until today. It helps us understand why communication often fails, especially when different forms of noise interfere with the message. While it may not fully capture the emotional and interactive aspects of communication, it is still able to identify communication barriers, which makes it highly relevant even until today. For organizations, understanding this model can be first step toward creating clearer and more effective communication among employees and managers. That is all from me. I will pass the discussion back to Kai.
All right, thank you so much, Maiha, for clearly explaining the connection between the theory and workplace communication. Your explanation has helped us better understand how communication noise or barriers can affect the interpretation of message. Now, I would like to invite Zara to share some example of workplace miscommunication.
Okay, thank you so much, Mai. Next, I will discuss about some practical examples of workplace miscommunication using the Shannon and Weaver communication model. So firstly, miscommunication often happens in remote work and also virtual meetings. So employees today rely heavily on digital platforms such as Zoom and also Microsoft Teams. However, technical issues like unstable internet connections, frozen screens, and also audio delays can interrupt the communication process. So, for example, a manager might provide instructions for a project during an online meeting, but some employees may miss the important details as their internet connection is quite poor. So, in this situation, technical issues act as noise, and as a result, employee may miss important information and complete the task incorrectly. So, secondly, miscommunication can also occur through email misinterpretation and lack of communication clarity. So, emails are widely used in a workplaces, but unclear wording can create confusion. So, for instance, a manager may write, "Please send the report as soon as possible." Since no specific deadline is provided, employees may interpret the message differently, causing delays and also misunderstanding. So some employees may think that the report should be submitted by the end of today, while others may assume that tomorrow is also acceptable. So in this case, vague wording represent semantic noise in the communication process. And lastly, language and cultural differences can also lead to workplace miscommunication, especially in multinational organizations. So one example when it comes to language is the use of unfamiliar terms such as escalate. So, native English speakers may understand that it means to refer an issue to a higher authority or specialized department, but non-native English speakers may not fully understand the term. And another example for cultural differences is when an American manager may provide direct feedback by saying that your work is the worst and does not meet the required standards. So, while this may be intended as a straightforward feedback, a Japanese employee may perceive it as extremely harsh because, as we all know, Japanese culture generally values indirect and polite communication. So, these differences act as a noise and can affect how messages are understood. So, to sum up, workplace miscommunication can result from technical issues, unclear languages, and also cultural differences. So, by understanding these barriers through the Shannon and Weaver communication, organization can improve communication effectiveness and reduce the misunderstanding in the workplace. And I think that is all for me.
All right, thank you so much, Zara, for those example and valuable insights. So now I will conclude our panel discussion by summarizing the key point that we just discussed now. So, in conclusion, I think workplace miscommunication can occur when messages are unclear or interpreted differently by the receivers. As we demonstrate in our roleplay just now, I think semantic noise can lead to confusion or incomplete tasks and even project delays. So, for me, the Shannon-Weaver model helped us understand the importance of clear communication, effective message delivery, and even proper feedback in preventing misunderstandings. So, therefore, I think organizations should encourage clear communication and clarification to ensure that information is understood correctly and tasks are completed effectively. Do you guys agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, we do agree.
Yeah, I think that is all from me, and that concludes our panel discussion today. Thank you for your attention and thank you so much for the explanation.